So here's my story. My name's Dawn Gracie and I'm a vintage entertainer and event organiser and the new creator of the Vintage Feel Good box. So back in 2010 I'd had a career working in media for a magazine as an advertising sales rep. In my spare time I used to love being part of a local band. We'd go out, tour the local pubs. We played the local pubs and we were celebrities in our own right on the local scene. So I was a singer part-time. It got me away from the desk. I really enjoyed the opportunity to perform, but really away from that, what I've always loved is vintage. Grew up listening to 50s and 60s music, absolutely love it. So the band wasn't that style, but you know, I adapted. I was a bit of a rock chick at the time. In 2010, I went with my mum to an event called Vintage at Goodwood. I still have the flyers. I still have the really cool wristband that they gave as well. I thought that was genius. I still have some of the bunting that I stole as well. I didn't steal it, they said I could take it. Look at that, fabulous. I think we actually went on 2 of the days. It was amazing, it was absolutely amazing. It was an immersive vintage event and I just thought on that day, I love this so much. I wanted to immerse myself. And as we were sat there in the Fortnum & Mason's tea room, pretend, I looked around thinking, I really want to be part of this vintage world. I loved my day job, I loved my boss, loved working for her. She taught me so much about business, but I just thought, I'm going to be turning 40 the next year, 2011. So maybe this is time for a change. And as Christmas loomed that year, a Cath Kidston shop opened up in Chichester and I thought, okay, my day job is part-time because I had young children. I'm going to get a part-time job in Cath Kidston because I needed to be out there and just getting the buzz of Christmas and back in retail, which is where I had worked in retail many years earlier. So as the calendar turned on 2011, I decided, well, March was my big 40th. So I thought I'm going to shape up, get fit, which is what I did. I got a personal trainer, I started eating better, I started to lose weight in anticipation of my 40th birthday. My 40th birthday was an amazing party, vintage themed of course. My friend made me a Cath Kidston handbag cake, it was awesome, and everyone dressed up vintage. I spent the whole evening getting changed. I had 3 costume changes because I couldn't decide what era to be, and the evening culminated in me singing, strangely, Muse's version of Feeling Good with the megaphone and everything, and because singing at the time was just a hobby for me rather than my job, and it just seemed the fitting way to celebrate my 40th. The year rolled on and of course, as you know, there's an amazing event called the Goodwood Revival and that's just on my doorstep. And so in 2011, I went along to the Goodwood Revival on Sunday, the 19th of September. The thing is, because I'd lost quite a lot of weight during that year through healthy eating, exercise, I looked in my wardrobe that day thinking, what am I going to wear? Because in previous years going to a revival, I'd go as a hippie or someone loose-fitting clothes, shall we say. But that year I'd lost 3 stone. I decided to pick out a dress from my wardrobe that I had bought 5 years earlier on eBay from America for no reason other than I loved the style and the fabric. It was never going to fit me. However, this is the dress. This is the dress that I wore. Look at that beautiful fabric. And it's got a vintage label in it. There you go. I'm not quite sure what that label is, but it's beautiful. And don't worry, in case you're wondering, I found the 3 stone. It wasn't hiding very far away. So that's the dress that I wore. And honestly, I felt $1 million. And as we were walking around, just casually looking at everything, enjoying the sights, I was handed this card. We went into a little photo booth to have a picture taken, and it says, Goodwood Revival Style Icons. We're looking for the most elegant ladies pre-66 style, and you've been shortlisted. They gave me that and they said, can you come back to the Verve Clicquot tent at 4 o'clock or something. Well, that day was very rainy. I can tell you, we got absolutely drenched and my hair was curly like this, but it all fell out. And anyway, we rolled up to the tent at 4 o'clock and someone came over to me and handed me this little rosette for my wrist and said, could you come up to the stage when they call? So I went up to the stage, terrified, thinking, what am I doing? And it was for the best dressed competition of the day, and we had to do a little sort of parade, and honestly, I could feel people's eyes boring into me. I was definitely the most colourful person up there, because a lot of people do the 40s for Revival. I'm not a very sort of muted coloured person, as you can probably tell. So as I stood there, I was thinking, oh my God. They announced the winner, and it was me. I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely shocked beyond belief. And the interviewer, the host, came over and said, right, tell us about your outfit. And I don't know why, I just blurted out, I never thought I'd ever fit into this dress. I've just lost 3 stone and this is a shock even to me. And honestly, I could see the people going from to, oh, well done, about the weight loss and getting into this dress. So I don't know what that says, but I was absolutely ecstatic. I was over the moon. I was so chuffed to have won such an accolade, and I was flying. What happened is, literally the next day, my friend called Kerry contacted me and said, would you like to come into the nursing home she's a manager for to show the residents what you'd been wearing on the day that you won, because they love to see the vintage clothes. And I agreed, and I made a date, and I went in, and she said, well, if you can sing some songs, then I can pay you as an entertainer. I didn't even know that was a job. So I did it. I went in, swished my skirt, wore the dress, talked about it, had my sash, and I had an amazing time. I absolutely loved it. I was also working with another client at the time, a local garden centre, because I was sort of doing sales coaching, and they were planning a birthday party for their 45th anniversary. And they said, can you look for some singers for us? And I said, well, I've just done a nursing home. Do you want me to come and do it? And so I did it. So that was my first public gig, and Hooklands was my first private gig. And from then, within 3 months, I had a full diary of bookings as a vintage singer. Absolutely gobsmacked. And so I left my job officially and never looked back. And I always remember thinking, way back then, I'd love to create an immersive event just like that first one I went to, that just transformed me back to, you know, feeling vintage and nostalgic. I just absolutely loved it. And so in 2016, I launched my first Vintage Weekender. That went amazingly. I learned so much about my own limitations in that event. And of course it cost the earth, and every single year I've done one since, apart from last year. And 2020 was the first time it was going to have sold out months in advance. But of course, because of the pandemic, it got cancelled, and there goes the story. So I've decided not to do the event this year, which is why I had to do something, which is why I launched the Vintage Feel Good box. And to me, what's so important is about reaching out to people, connecting people, and gifting yourself, gifting other people, but having that little sort of emotion of nostalgia and just feeling great. And so as I now approach my 50th birthday celebrations, I was planning a big party, which of course can't now happen. But this year is not only my 50th birthday, but of course it's now 10 years since I won that Best Dressed Revival award, which started this whole thing off. And so over my past 10 years, I've performed all over the place. I performed in Pall Mall at the top of a skyscraper. I've performed at local nursing homes. I've performed at countless weddings and anniversaries and parties and big public events. Just so many, and it was the right career move. But of course now with this situation where the whole entertainment industry has been completely wiped out, temporarily we hope, I wanted to do something. So this 10th anniversary and my 50th was the right time to launch something completely new. So I hope you like my new website, vintagefeelgoodbox.com, and yeah, I hope you want to join me for my next 10 years. Who knows what I'll launch on my 60th? There's a thought. I better start planning that now. So I hope you've enjoyed my little story about how this happened and why it happened. But it all literally did start with this dress. So I have this dress to thank, because I don't think without having won that award that day at Revival, whether any of this would have happened. Thank you very much, dress. You were a life changer. Thanks for watching my little story. I hope you enjoyed it.